To our next Hire Women podcast episode on Respect My Region Network. I'm your host, Shelbie. Today we have a very special guest, Maisha Bahati, coming at you from Sacramento from Crystal Nugs. Thank you for joining us today, Maisha.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Of course. Now, before we get started, we're going to share a brief update from our sponsor today. Today's episode is powered by RMR Legacy Smalls. Respect My Region's cannabis flower line, available in Washington State and California, also Arizona, and I think New York coming soon. Stay tuned. But the current strains include London Pound Cake, Orange Sherb, Rainbow Truffle, Super Mimosa, and Dedication OG. So how's life in Sacramento?
Life is good. Life is busy right now.
Busy.
3 weeks into opening a dispensary, it's a lot going on.
Congratulations. A little background on how I know Maisha. She owns Crystal Nugs dispensary, and I've been familiar with them because of Yummy Karma. We were a partner with the delivery service, and we met at the last Hollow Flowers. You and your boyfriend, you guys had the best style, I thought. So you guys really stuck out, and I had to make sure to take a picture with you guys in our booth. So yeah, you just opened a storefront in Sacramento, Crystal Nugs. And it's beautiful, gorgeous. So we're going to hear about all that exciting stuff. So your team has been growing and thriving. So what's it been like? Tell us about the process and your team.
Well, we have a solid team. So there's 4 owners in Crystal Nugs, myself, Chris, Melina, and her husband, Brian. So Chris and I are married. Melina and Brian are married. We were friends we were friends and business partners prior to Crystal Nugs. They're the godparents of Chris and I's daughter. So we were just close. We'd already kind of been through the do's and don'ts of business and partners. And, we knew we could trust one another. So when we decided to do Crystal Nugs, it just happened effortlessly as far as just the team. So we're 4 people who all were willing to take risk. And so that's how we got here.
What year did Crystal Nugs start?
So we opened our delivery service March 8th of 2019. It taken us a year prior to opening to even get all that started. So we probably decided, probably like around 2017 is when we all kind of start saying, you know what, let's look into this whole cannabis thing. Initially, we were going to try to open up a doctor office. You could get the Medi-Cal, or not the Medi-Cal, but the medical card. So we were going to try to figure out how to do that. And then we realized, you know what, by the time we go through the process with this, recreational will be legal. So when rec came legal, we decided, okay, let's try this delivery thing. Like I said, it took us a year to find a location. That was a lot. But we did. We opened our doors March 18th. We had no customers. That's how new we were to the industry. We had 0 customers when we opened our phone lines for our delivery. And just over the years, we've organically grown to, where we are now. So it's been a journey.
Yeah, you guys worked really hard sending things in the mail to get promotion and get people to call.
We did everything in-house, everything from the ground up organically. We were a small business. We didn't come in with, millions of dollars in capital. So we had to kind of, learn from trial and error. And all of us owners, we work, 13, 14-hour days round the clock. We didn't hire our first delivery driver till about a year into the delivery. So I was still working full time at my county job before I retired. I would do deliveries at night. Like just 4 of us were running this delivery service. And, we were fortunate enough to grow and get our employees. And then COVID happened, and that just kind of boosted life so good for cannabis. We had so many customers. We were, money was falling from the sky during COVID. So that was a good time to be a delivery. And then things kind of slowed down a bit. So we had to pivot on that. And we just focused on the dispensary opening. So now we're running both the dispensary and delivery.
Where'd you think of the name Crystal Nugs?
I remember I was working at my county job. So before I got into cannabis, I was just 9 to 5. I'd been at my job for 18 years. And so we do a lot of text group chat, and I'd be at the work and we'd be trying to figure out a name. So I remember that day, all four of us, everybody put their suggestions in. So all the fellas put in like green and, green this, green that. And I was like, oh, that just sounds so like previous market to me. I wanted something a little bit more flashier, a little bit more sexier, a little bit more feminine. So that's how Crystal became, because we looked at the buds, and they're crystal. The crystallized buds are considered the upper echelon, the premium, the high scale. So that's where we got Crystal. And then we got Nugs because I still wanted something vintage and retro. And Nugs was one of those retro words. So Crystal Nugs, that's how it locked in. We all agreed on text, and that's how we started it.
I love it. It's a great name. So I want to go back to the beginning and how is your family's stance on cannabis, and what was that like growing up? How did you first try it?
So it's interesting growing up. So my mom is an OG cannabis user, and she smoked, through my teenage years. But I was so embarrassed by that because, I grew up where you're supposed to say no to drugs, and, that was grilled into us. So I remember just being like, oh my God, like my mom smokes weed. She's doing this illegal drug. She's going to be arrested if they catch her. Like, that's how I felt. So I didn't get into cannabis till I turned 40. And how that happened was when I met my husband, Chris. He was growing in his house, and, it's kind of like, let me try that. And so he kind of introduced me to it. I was in my late 40s. Prior to that, had never tried it, had never wanted to try it, didn't know how to buy it if you had told me. So that's interesting. So family-wise, I mean, that was during the 90s and before it was legal. So, my grandma thought that you were selling dope if you were doing marijuana. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, my mom was an OG smoker the whole time, and I was so upset and embarrassed about that. So here I am, years later, selling it.
Helping her out too. So what was your first experience with cannabis as a consumer?
My first experience was probably edibles, and that was an absolute horrible experience. Like most people, I took some, I don't really feel it. Let me try some more. And then over the top, it was homemade cookies. And so our partners had made them. So God knows how much THC were in those. But I was out of myself, one of those situations, swore I'd never do it again. I'd never do this again. So I put off edibles for a while and kind of was introduced to the actual consumption of cannabis flower. I liked that. I felt like I could control that a little bit better than edibles. And I liked it. It became a therapeutic thing for me. It became something that when I just want to vibe out, I'm a fashion designer, so I have a very creative mind. So having a joint and being able to create and design, that just kind of became therapy to me, and something that I just kind of did, every day. And that's how the consumer I am right now.
Yeah, same. I had kind of the same experiences where I was smoking out of a bong my first few times, and I remember just being like, that's it, like I'm not gonna do that again. But then I would do it again. But that's hilarious. Did you do fashion before you started with Crystal Nugs already?
Yes. So I've been a fashion designer for the past probably 25 years. Started here in Sacramento. Started as a hobby. It's something that I just became really interested in. People started to, like what I did. Oh, can you make this for me? Sure, sure, sure. And before you knew it, I was, designing here for local boutiques. So I really enjoyed that. I was doing that while I was also working full time. So, after a while, after I had my daughter, I just didn't have the time to really do the whole custom thing. So kind of paused on that. I started designing baby onesies. We ended up I designed shoes. I had a shoe line that I designed. So that's always kind of been part of us. When I got into cannabis, I somehow didn't think that I could still do fashion and cannabis. Like the two just didn't mix to me at the time. So I decided to stop. And probably months later, I realized, you know what, let me try to start designing with cannabis prints. So I started doing that on my own. People were vibing with it. I decided to come up with Bougie Stoner, which is a ready to wear, upscale, classy kind of cannabis couture. And so once I started doing that, I got really excited because I'm like, ooh, I'm back in my element now. And that's how I decided to build a boutique in our dispensary to sell my collection. And so that's what's going on.
It's like Barbie pink over there, that section.
Yeah, I'll have to, I don't know if I can walk the camera in there, but I'll have to go in there and do like a little circle so you guys can see. It's amazing.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. Denali, I don't know. We'll do that. We'll hold that for later. But so what was your first day working in cannabis like, and what's the difference between now and then?
My first day working in cannabis, I was extremely nervous because I didn't feel like I was educated enough to answer questions. Like my fear was that I was going to get these people who were asking me all these questions about, strains and percentages, and I just wasn't versed like that. And I was nervous. I was like, God, is anyone going to call us? Is anybody going to place an order? But now I'm very much more educated, a lot more comfortable. I understand our customer base now. I understand the market we're in. I'm still not like the top shelf cannabis person. Like if you ask me about terps and so forth, I'm going to get a little nervous, but I'm so much more comfortable just in this space than I was 5 years ago.
That's awesome. So we're going to switch gears to California as a whole. So what can you share your thoughts on the state of California cannabis for you?
You know what? We are in the survival of the fittest here in California to me. There are a lot of businesses that I started with that are no longer around. As we know, taxes in California are insane, which is a huge reason why a lot of businesses aren't making it because you haven't paid taxes. The state will tax you, on top of that. And before you know it, you're just in the hole. You can't get out. So, we kind of got in at a good time where I've been able to observe how different jurisdictions, for example, LA and San Francisco, who started this whole process a little bit before we did. So I've been able to observe a lot of how, decisions were made or just, how people have operated. So as we kind of come in, literally at a time where businesses are not surviving, here we come building this mega dispensary. And hoping to, be able to bring something new to where, we can sustain ourselves. So, until they lower the taxes, I mean, it's going to be a very, very difficult process for businesses to survive. Very saturated, not as much here in Sacramento as it is maybe in LA, but competition is thick. So, having the capital has always been the number one thing in cannabis. So, it's survival of the fittest. It's a little nerve-wracking, like I said, when you hear businesses closing, then you're opening a new one. But I think that Crystal Nugs has a different vibe. We have some big goals. So I think that we're going to be able to bring a new experience that's going to kind of keep us going. That's my plan.
Crystal Nugs is making history as the first Black woman-owned licensed cannabis delivery and retailer in Sacramento. Can you please share with us the challenges and triumphs you faced while breaking barriers in this industry? What does it all take to get to where you are?
A lot of barriers. I will tell you this whole cannabis process, particularly the dispensary, has been a very emotionally, mentally, physically, financially draining process. I have just the stress level that it has brought. I mean, this is just real talk. I went through a depression about a year ago because we were at a point where we needed funding. We needed about $400,000 more to finish this project. And we were trying to obtain it. I mean, we were taking out press releases, looking for funding, and we were just being told no, like literally. Never forget, one day we had a whole bunch of, fishing rods out in the investment sea, and it was like, no, 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 back to back. And so I remember thinking, all of us collectively were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We had, by this point, had put in so much of our own. Like, we had sold our houses, we had cash in our retirement, we had, sold everything. And so that was very stressful. Thinking that everything I've worked for and I put into this store, I'm not going to be able to finish it. So it was a lot of that. Barriers wise, I mean, money is always a barrier. We faced barriers from the beginning. When we got this location, we knew we had to get a conditional use permit. We got a 13,000 corner, 2-story location in the heart of our midtown, which is bars and shops. So we were already coming out of this mold of having dispensaries kind of in these really industrial places. We were on Front Street. So from there, we were also in between 2 churches. And as you know, there's restrictions on how close you can be. So we had so many barriers from the beginning, and it just took us just hitting the ground. I mean, we hit things immediately. We went 100% all in. We did not slack on any level of this. Crystal Nugs was 99% of everything I thought about during this whole time. And, my husband and I, he's also one of the owners. So you're dealing with that whole relationship, building a business together. He's stressed about something. I'm trying to keep it together. So that was a lot. And that was for 3 years. It took us almost 3 years to open this. So a lot of barriers, and just a lot of emotion put into this. But we made it out. We made it. I believe we could, but that's what you're going to put into it. Just believe that.
I love it. Congratulations. All your hard work has paid off. And what I loved about you guys is that you were super transparent throughout the entire process. Throughout like the 3 years I have been seeing you guys promoting the process of it and the construction and like letting everybody, like all the wins, like we got this location, it's going to be here, showing everybody like just like how it came about. And so I'm so excited. It was a lot of anticipation building until now it's here. Now it's amazing. I was able to do a virtual training for you guys and see how lovely and beautiful the shop is. It's gorgeous. So just congratulations for that. Thank you. So what brands and products should everyone know when it comes to cannabis in California?
So we at Crystal Nugs, I like a diverse range of products. So our delivery clientele versus the dispensary was so different. With our delivery, we were able to push a lot of, obviously, flower, a lot of carts. We're noticing with the dispensary, topicals, edibles, those are really a big seller with the community that we're in. We get a lot of people who are first timers. We get a lot of people who, oh, it's a woman owned, let me go check it out. Oh, it's a Black woman owned, let me go check it out. And so they tend to gravitate towards, like the tinctures. We love Yummy Karma. We've always loved you guys. You just have that appeal. Lubricants, like really just kind of not the cliche items you normally see. People tend to gravitate towards. So I'm looking forward to expanding that selection to where we really have some one-of-a-kind products aside from flower. As far as brands, we rep, Sacramento brands like a lot. I have my own brand, Bahati, that I've had since 2019. So that's been a top seller in Crystal Nugs. But yeah, a lot of people like value. A lot of people like high premium. They just, if they come into the store, they're going to leave with something. And that's the good thing about having a retour storefront is you can introduce new things. And one thing about cannabis consumers, we love new products. We love to try something that's going to elevate us the same way as something we're used to. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me about the Bahati brand. So you got Crystal Nugs, you got Bahati, you got Bougie Stoner. That's crazy. So I want to talk a little bit more about Bougie Stoner. So that's a super exciting fusion of fashion and cannabis. What was the inspiration behind the collection, and what else can we see in the future with it?
So Bougie Stoner is basically, you're just getting Maisha Bahati. I like showstopper pieces. I like attention getter. I like classic pieces, coats, dresses. I always say, if you're a wallflower, you probably would not wear Bougie Stoner. It's loud, it's fun, it's sexy, it's one of a kind. So, like I said, I started creating just different pieces for myself. I'd make reels, post them on IG, just to see how people's reaction was. And I remember wearing one of my Bougie Stoner robe coats that I currently have in my store, and I wore it to a Sacramento Kings game, and everybody was like, whoa, like, where did you get that? Like, that is fly. And I said, you know what? There are people who would rock this. So, I looked, trust me, as a designer, I looked, I could see nothing. So I realized that there is this missing element with fashion and cannabis. There are cannabis clothes that exist, but they're either, hoodies, kind of stuff like that, or they're kind of, to me, a little bit, a little too sexy, it's very sexualized. So just for an everyday businesswoman, classy woman who wants to rock crystal nut or rock cannabis fashion, Bougie Stoner is it for you. And so I just got going, and whatever looks and feels good to me, whatever I want to rock, I create. And it's a collection that you would want to have in your closet if you're a Bougie Stoner. I mean, you would want something. I'm going to be dropping a collection of bags next. So I started with my coats. My next collection is going to be bags. And then we're just going to keep going on and going on and going on. Goal is to infuse shoes, bags, dresses. It's just going to be a whole collection of cannabis fashion.
Lifestyle.
Don't you just love that?
I love it. Yes. And we had somebody in the chat. Someone in the chat said, I am a Bougie Stoner. I can't wait to check it out. So hell yeah. That's so exciting.
Yes.
What do you think are factors that help determine whether a cannabis company will be successful or not?
I think now it's about creativity. It's about creativity. It's also about expansion. So where we are as Crystal Nugs, we just opened our dispensary. I have my eyes set on-site consumption. Part of the appeal is when we got this location, it was 13,000 square feet. We had enough room. We took a risk to build out a room for on-site consumption. We figured if it didn't happen in Sacramento, we would just either expand the dispensary or do something. So I think that as a culture, we're moving towards more social aspects of cannabis. Social consumption, events, entertainment, that's going to be happening. And if you're able to become a part of that, I think that's going to be elevation for you. Dispensary, I mean, you have to bring a different vibe to customers now. It has to be bigger than coming in, buying some weed, leaving. Like, people want something. They want a vibe. They want a culture. So whether the events you're throwing in your store, I just think it's all about creativity and appealing to a different consumer than, the legacy consumer, the medicinal consumer. You got a whole range of consumers out there. I'm a woman. I particularly market to other women because I feel like we're the major consumers, right? If we're buying something, the fellas, everybody else is going to come behind because they're going to say, why is this store so popular? So I've always wanted to add a feminine touch. That's why I did the boutique. I'm going to be bringing in some cannabis stationery. I just think people like cute stuff. I want to go in and buy weed and buy some cute earrings and buy a coat and buy some stationery. Like, I want to shop like I'm going to a store. So that's what I think you'll need to do in order to sustain yourself. You got to bring something new than what's already being done.
Does Crystal Nugs throw events?
So it's funny story with events. So Crystal Nugs, we were one of, like, at one point, we were the only person in Sacramento that held a cannabis event organizer license. So back in 2019, when we opened our delivery, we also received the state licensed for cannabis events. So we could legally host and throw an event where consumers could consume and purchase cannabis. So we worked like crazy on that. We actually had an event. It was called the Comedy Joint, and that's a name that we trademarked. And it was going to be the first outdoor comedy show. And it was supposed to be September of 2020, right? So we had planned it out. We had like entertainment. It was going to be like dope, dope, dope. Then COVID happened, right? So we had to stop it. After that, we were having such a difficult time trying to plan an event. That is probably harder than opening a dispensary, trying to plan a legal cannabis event. There's so much red tape. There's so many entities. The city's not talking to the place where you can only have them. So there's been this really big push here in Sacramento to have events outside of the designated area, which is Cal Expo in our case. So until then, I will do a lot of creative in-store events. So I'm kind of getting used to this whole dispensary thing. I know there's vendor days and, different dispensary store events. So we said until we get the lounge popping, we'll do some creative events, just to kind of get that social vibe going. Obviously, no consumption. But I think once we kind of get that energy going, I'm looking into doing a joint rolling class with an in-store comedy going on at the same time. So really fun, creative events I'm going to be bringing to our storefront dispensary.
Fashion show.
Fashion. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? That's coming next. Definitely fashion show with my next collection. Oh God. I've manifested that. I've dreamt of having a fashion show in our store. So I can't wait for that.
I can't wait either. So as a professional, what do you want to be known for?
I want to be known for the opportunities that I've been able to create for other people in this position. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I've tried so many different things that didn't work out. And I always remember thinking, like, you just need one person to give you an opportunity. You just need one person to say, yay, to get you to the next level. And so I've just noticed with Crystal Nugs, like, we've been able to do that. We hired 15 employees. That's a lot of people. We've given people an opportunity to be creative in our space, whether it's the brands that come in. I mean, we have brands who are brand new, who are like, we want to see. And so I just want to be known for creating something that gave someone an opportunity to elevate whatever that is.
Thank you. And I think even just being the first to do something, like that's your role model. Now people are going to look up to you. People are going to be like, wow, she did this. I can do that, or I can try to do that. Yeah. Same thing.
Absolutely.
How do you approach each workday in terms of preparing, organizing, and executing?
I get up in the morning and I have a nice sativa. That's my morning routine. I go outside. We live on the lake, so I'm able to really go out there and vibe. I come into work energized. I come into work like, okay, what's new? There's a ton of ideas I have. Like I said, we've only been open for 3 weeks, and this dispensary thing is new to all of us. So I have like a bazillion ideas, and just every day I'm shooting emails to the city. I'm trying to see what else we can do. I'm that person. Let's position ourselves for something. So I'm either dealing with the city council, or I'm pushing ideas to the state or city, or I'm hyping up our employees. Right now we're decorating for Christmas, so we're hanging, bulbs on the ceiling. We're trying to kind of get that holiday vibe. Like, my goal in all this is I really want people to come into Crystal Nugs and feel like I'm at a store. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing something quote unquote bad. I had a customer come in the other day and said, thank you for destigmatizing dispensaries. And I said, you know what? I vibe with that. Like, you come in here, you don't feel like you're in a dispensary. You feel like you're just in like you would come in with your mom. People have come in here with their moms who never smoked. Like, would you take your mom to somebody be like, I'm not getting out the car? You come here, you feel comfortable. And so I'm already creating something that, it's already happened. That change is already happening. So I'm super excited to be a part of that.
That's amazing. You're creating community. People come in with their family.
Right.
Have your neighbors been receptive? Like, are you all cool with the neighboring businesses?
We are. I mean, that was something that was very, very important to me before we started the regulation process when we got this location was how are we going to be received? Um, Going through that process, I mean, I was going business to business, introducing ourselves. I would say, hey, I'm thinking about opening a dispensary. What are your thoughts? Like, what are your concerns? Like, let's work together on this. I was very transparent. I wanted to hear what they have to say, you know? I want this to work for all of us. So we had a lot of support. Now, we did have some businesses that opposed us. Um, I think for the most part, their issues were, you know, you're going to bring crime to the area. I mean, all these issues we were able to debunk. So there was no one that had anything against our character as a business. So we were received. We worked with a couple of the other businesses, like on our grand opening. We had, you know, other businesses like offering specials for Crystal Nugs, and we would do the same. We're in an area where there's a lot of shops and there are a lot of mom and pop stores and a lot of stores that have just been in business for years, right? So one of my goals is to do like a midtown passport to where when you go to each business, you get a stamp and you get a discount off of different businesses. So I want to be a part of it. I think that we can all benefit from Crystal Nugs being here. We all have the same customer. Like the customer who shops at my store is going to shop at the dessert spot. It's going to eat at the restaurant. Like, let's just work together. Let's all eat. So it's been really good. I'm very happy where I'm at. Very happy.
That's a really good idea, doing that co-marketing business card. I love it. All right. Well, I think I have one more question. So you worked at the county. Were you familiar, like going back to the county and like seeing people that you worked with? And were they friendly to you about your Crystal Nugs goals?
You know, it's funny. When I was working, I was one of those people, I was very unhappy. Not because of the job, but I just was very unfulfilled. I was unfulfilled. I had no passion with what I was doing. I was working, living check to check. I felt like I was just in this box, right? I couldn't get out. So it was a very emotional process, me kind of switching my mindset to think positive and not negative and really manifest this Crystal Nug situation. So I would talk to people. I would talk to them all the time. And I don't know if they really believed me. I remember when I left, I had a couple people say, you know, why are you leaving this job? Like, this is easy money. Why are you leaving this? And it would make me so upset because I would feel like, do you not think I can make it? Do you not think I can do this? So I really had to change how I think. My subconscious I had to change. And I know that's deep, but really I had to get from this, I'm broke, I'm miserable, I don't like it here, to this is going to happen. I believe this is going to happen. So I would portray that to other people. And by the time I retired, I remember the last day I went around, I said goodbye to a couple of people, and they all said, like, we knew you were going to leave. Like, we knew it was a matter of time before you left. Like, you were persistent, you had that attitude. One thing about people in cannabis, when you tell them what you do, everybody has a story. So everyone throws some story. It's like they feel good that you said it, so they don't feel comfortable. I actually have a couple of coworkers coming in today. Like, they hit me on IG and was like, "We're going to come and support." So I've had a couple of people come in here from my job. Like, they're all super supportive, and you know, it's great. Like, they saw me from the ground up. Like, they know this shit is real.
They were like, we knew you were meant for something bigger.
I had a vision board, girl. I was out of there. Like, okay.
I love that you're all about like manifestation.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna ask some questions, and you're just gonna say the first thing that comes to your mind. More of a hot take series.
Yep.
What inspires you to make the moves you make as a professional in cannabis?
My family. Opportunity, representation, creating the life that I want to live.
What advice do you have for aspiring cannabis entrepreneurs?
You have to be willing to risk something big. If you're not willing to risk, you're not going to make it. and you have to have a good team who all want to take risk. So if you're not willing to risk something, if you're not willing to lose something, if you're not willing to give up something, then this is not the industry for you.
Need to make sacrifices. What kind of music do you vibe out to? Who are your top 3 artists?
Right now I'm vibing out to Children of Zeus, Cleo Soul, and Too Short. Those are rotating in my playlist right now.
Hell yeah. What are your absolutely necessary items for a smoke sesh or your consuming sesh if it's edibles? What are your necessary items for when you're consuming?
Well, I'm a bougie stoner, so I like accessories. I'm a premium well, I won't say I'm a premium indoor. I'm a packaging person. I like to pull something out of my bag and it's as if I'm pulling out, the newest Gucci wallet. Like, I like presentation. I like accessories. I made these rings. They're joint rings. So when you're out and you're this is how you're looking like totally upscale, high class. Everybody's like, where'd you get that? So I'm that person. I'm the over the top kind of, I made some, remember the old, what do you call them? The roach clips with the feathers on them? Like, I'm that person. I'll pull out the retro roach clip and be like, so I'm accessories, good weed, smells good, sticky, tastes good. That's who I am. I'm the bougie stoner. I'm doing the extra.
Glamour. What are munchies? Your munchies, what's one food and drink you cannot live without?
I'm on this whole kick of dipping a banana in chocolate, like the chocolate syrup, and then dipping it in the nuts. So it's kind of like, I'll do that because I feel like it's kind of healthy a little bit because it's banana, but the chocolate, the nuts, take it over the top. So that's my snack that I like to engage in after I've consumed something nice.
Sounds delicious. Are you into sports? And if so, who are your favorite teams?
I'm one of those people that I enjoy sports during like the playoffs. I'm like, I just like to be in the mix. If it's a good mix, it could be hockey, it could be basketball. During the playoffs, I'm like in it, like I'm in that energy. But right now, I'm rooting for the 49ers. Like they're doing it, so I'm kind of like riding with them football wise. But again, I'm just rooting for the team that is winning. I'm that person.
The winning team. I love it. What are your favorite restaurants or food in Sacramento?
So I like all food. I like to try anything. Right now, probably Makuni Sushi, Tres Hermanas, which is a Mexican restaurant in our area that's amazing. And any kind of soul food, Fixin' soul food, that's kind of been on my radar too. So yeah, I would say Fixin', Tres Hermanas, and Makuni's is kind of what I've been having in rotation.
What is the most slept on thing or part of Sacramento?
What is slept on in Sacramento? Probably the nightlife. Well, live music. Sacramento has some nice, sexy spots. If you want to go vibe, you want to have a drink, you want to get dressed up, whether it's with your girlfriends or with your partner. Sacramento has some undercover, sexy spots. So I think just the grown-up nightlife, not the nightclub 21-year-olds. I mean, if you want to go and you want to do some grown-up stuff, Sacramento has some nice spots out here for that.
I just want to share for a second my Sacramento story. When I had gone, we went to a speakeasy, forget the name, but that was a really nice speakeasy. I was able to get a drink. I think it
Bok
had
chicken. It was bok chicken and you went in the back?
Maybe I cannot remember the name. All I know is I had a Coca-Cola with mezcal in it, and then they brought some crickets, like those crickets that you could eat. That they're like, that was amazing. And then we went over to the Flamingo Club.
Oh yeah, that's right around the corner from us.
Okay.
We're in their backyard.
So I love celebrities. Here's my other story about that. So our Airbnb, we were like in the Airbnb, I'm setting up the TV, internet or whatever, and I see Uriah Faber, his email on it. I was like, are we in Uriah Faber's house? And it was because when we were at the Flamingo Club, somebody had to go back and get the key or something, and they met him. He was there. So I didn't get to meet him, but that was my favorite part. I was like, we were in
Yeah, I'll have to tell them. Oh yeah. They're good time. That's so funny. You would have seen our store when you were in the Flamingo house. That's so fun.
I gotta go back. What do people need to know about what you have coming up?
Okay, you just stay with Crystal Nugs. We have some fire coming up. Not only am I dropping new Bushy Stoner, we have some amazing indoor events that we're planning, some unique educational events. We're hoping that there's conversation in the next probably 3 to 4 months with the city on on-site consumption. We're ready to tackle that. If that does happen, we have an amazing rooftop that we want to do for a rooftop lounge. So we're in a position for that. So just look for some entertainment, some music, live comedy shows, fashion shows. Look for that through Crystal Nugs. We're going to bring that. Somehow we're going to figure out how to bring that element into cannabis, all in one spot.
I have no doubt that you're going to make your dreams come true because you're just a very determined person that's into the visualization, and you have a great team with you who they all believe in your vision too. So I will stay tuned. But you said you could maybe pan around if you want to show us the shop. Feel free. Let's do it.
So we're in my office now. My first time ever having my own office in my whole working career. Let me show you real fast. So here's our lounge really fast. If you can see that, that's our on-site lounge. Let me take you into our storefront. I don't know if I can turn this thing around, but.
Look at that. Yes. It's so clean. Oh, there it is, the Bougie Stoner Boutique.
There's a pocket where you can put your joints, your lighter. So yeah, this is what we've created. So pretty. Oh, that's it. We just got our elevator wrapped by Carvana. So they wrap the inside and the outside of our elevator.
Shout out Carvana, that looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it looks amazing inside. But yeah, we got a cute stairwell where I'm into art, so I have a lot of art. Got our Cheech and Chong right there. Bob Marley. So you come downstairs and we have our lobby, our outside. Yeah, this is Crystal Nugs.
It's gorgeous. I can't wait to see it in person. I can't wait to go to the future events there. Is there anything else you'd like
to do something here?
Yeah, that's right. How can we follow you?
You can follow our page, Crystal Nugs _SAC, SAC. That's our Crystal Nugs page. You can follow me, Maisha Bahati. If you're interested to stay on top of the fashion and what's going on, I'm on IG, also on LinkedIn. But yeah, keep in contact. We got some really cool out of the box ideas that I think you're gonna love.
Can we buy Bougie Stoner online? Can we buy anything from you online?
You know, I'm going to put a few of my coats online. Initially, it was just for in-store. I wanted to give that in-store appeal. But I do want to open it up to everyone because there are a lot of Bushy Stoners that cannot come to Sacramento, but I want you guys to rep my line. So I will be offering them online. crystalnugs.com. If you're in Sac, place a delivery or come to our store. You will love it.
Thank you so much, Maisha. Again, that is our conversation. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Hire Women Podcast. My name is Shelbie Vasquez, Maisha Bahati of Crystal Nugs Dispensary, Sacramento, the first Black woman open to do it in Sacramento. Please make sure to leave us a review in the comments and like, follow, subscribe on our Instagram, YouTube, all of our platforms. And don't forget to look for Respect My Region weed at local dispensaries and delivery service. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shelbie. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.